Say that, are you lonesome tonight? Do you miss me
Okay.
tonight?
I think he
Are
was
you
just low.
sorry
I think he's just talking
we
low.
drifted
He's
apart?
really good.
Okay, Leo.
Is your heart filled with shame? Shall I come back? Let's start the show. Okay. Here we go. Hey, I want to ask you both the question. You didn't notice, and I'm really kind of butthurt.
You got a haircut.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
But do you like my hair better when I part it on the side? Does it make me look younger or older?
You always part it like that.
What was she noticing? Not like this, Cara. So does this hair parting my hair on the side like this, like extreme, compared to how I usually wear it? Does it make me look younger or older?
I like when it starts growing out and you're still kind of like waving it out, but you can see it has some length. This is a little bit more. It's shorter,
just got
so
a
it's
haircut.
more. Yeah. So you get. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. Do I look younger or older?
Okay, that's your question.
I would think maybe younger.
Okay. How about the tie? Do I look stuffy in my tie as compared to open collar?
You look good in your tie.
You look good.
Nobody has any other than that? No.
Your suit looks super soft.
I didn't ask about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we're moving slowly
I
down.
want to come over there and give you a hug. What's stopping me?
Come here.
I'll go over there on the podcast. You're putting me on the spot.
Well, you smell good.
Oh, thank you. You did too.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so one of the things I've noticed over the years, and this is going to be actually impacting you guys because you have kids. As a trainer in 39 years, I've trained a lot of kids over the years, young kids, like 10 years of age, in that age group, 10 to 13, because it's really good for them. And what I've noticed over the years is that the young ones, the kids that I'm training now, and this has been going on for a while, they have gotten really soft and weak, even pathetic. Because it's like when they come in here, the kids I used to be able to train, they could take like a workout, just an initial workout compared to the kids that are coming in now, especially the boys. And if you take a look at the data, the stats prove that in no other time in history has the testosterone levels been so low among young boys. And according to the data, it has to do with the way they're being raised, like entitled, raised, coddled, and their diet.
I was gonna say a big one has to be food. When you were young, I guarantee, was there as many fast food and just like being lazy when it comes to food?
I don't remember, but I would say no. The answer is no. Fast food wasn't as prevalent as it is, as it has it's gotten, for sure. And I'm going to say that my mom, knowing my mom, we ate more at home than we did out. Mm-hmm. But I think it has to do with the to a degree, the diet changing from eating as much protein as we used to compared to what we're eating now, because it's all about fruits and vegetables. I'm not saying that those aren't healthy, but there's something that is going on there. And I think parents are ruining their kids.
I don't think it's just like kids right now. I think like even the grown men right now are just way more feminine than they used to be.
Why is that?
I don't freaking know. I just see it and it's like, bleh.
I agree with you.
Totally. Like 100%. That's why it's so hard for me to be attracted to anybody, because it's like, oh yeah, you're good looking. And then they speak and it's like, ew.
Well, not even that. I just,
the
way they
body.
move. I don't know. There's just something different about the male species now. And I think it has to do with, our culture and the way it's moved. What do you think, Charlie?
Yeah, what do you think? Come on, share. That means you have some really
Yeah.
serious feelings about this and you're getting frustrated.
No, I'm fine.
That's a lie.
I don't know. I think it comes more down to the food thing when we're talking about like what you started this with.
Yeah.
But kind of about being more feminine and stuff. I don't know. I feel like I think I know more guys that are like the standard 1942 guys than not. As in, I only know one person that it will express their feelings and everything. Every other guy is like, oh, I don't have feelings. I don't cry. I'm a robot. I don't like life. And I think that's weak. I think they're like that because if they did say how they really felt, they'd break down and cry like a bitch. I think it's.
So you think it's
how
just
we
it's
think.
fake? You think the feminine
I think
It's
they
real.
call that effeminate.
would it be that?
Effeminate.
Why do you think that they're that way?
Because we're told we have to be that way.
Girly?
No, I'm saying there is no people like that. I don't agree with you guys. I'm saying the complete opposite.
So you think
all
that what
guys-
we're taking as girly isn't really girly?
No, I think it's being a human, and I think it's only like 1% of guys, because as soon as you're a boy, you're told like you have to be a man and have no emotions and not show your emotions and you have to do something a certain way, and you grow up your whole life being groomed to be that way.
That's where I was raised.
That's why I think that's like how everybody's raised as a boy. It's automatically like, don't cry, don't whine, don't say your emotion. Be a man. Everything's always, the end of the conversation is be a man, or I'm trying to teach you how to be a man.
But don't you think that by not doing that, then they become the opposite of that?
I think there's a line you could
I
find.
mean, she's saying that she, unlike what you're saying, that most of the men now, males, are weak and kind of feminine.
I can smell weakness on a guy from a mile away. I mean, I can.
We
And
may
you?
be talking about two different kind of weaknesses.
Okay, maybe. Because, like, for me, I can see a guy and he can be like the biggest, buffest, strongest guy ever. But then there's a certain point with them where they kind of are more girly than me. Do you know what I'm saying?
No.
You know
Like,
what's
they take
amazing?
care of themselves better than I take care of myself.
Like a
and I take care of
metrosexual?
myself well.
Like a metrosexual.
Yes. Almost like they're,
Like, what do you mean?
um,
Give me an example.
I can't. Sometimes it's just a look that they have.
No, so like they're doing their eyebrows. They're
Some
getting
do
their
that.
hands done.
Yeah, yes.
I
Some
get
can do
I get
that.
my nails done, and my toes.
See, to me, that's the stuff that I'm like.
Or like if somebody was to come and break
What?
into my house.
Then I'm light in my lopers.
Okay, here's an
sound like-
example. Like if I was to be with a guy, I normally look at guys and I'm like, okay, could I be with this guy and be in a house and somebody come in to like rob us and know that he is actually going to take care of me, or that he's probably going to run the other direction? I can sense that off of men. You
Yeah.
can't?
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with.
I feel that that's feminine. That's more of like the girly side, the weaker side. That's the weaker side that I talk about when I talk
I
about
don't
being
think
weak.
that's man or girly. I think that if someone would come into my house, I would kill or die. Not because I'm manly, because I'm fucking crazy. Huge ass difference. Huge ass difference.
You sound like a mama
Like, I know I'm crazy.
protecting
I'm
her
mentally
young.
not stable. I think a normal person would be scared for their life and wouldn't know how they would react until they're in the situation.
I think
a
that's very
normal
true.
person. You could talk I hear guys all the time like, I would kill somebody, and I'm like,
No, that's
you
just.
wouldn't. Like, I don't know. I think people just talk, and I think.
So you think that just by looking at somebody? Because I agree with her. I look at like the males,
Uh-huh.
and just by the way they walk, I just make an assumption.
Yeah, it's just
an
a
assessment.
feeling.
I go, shit. But what is true, Charlie, which is hard to explain, maybe, is that the kids are testosterone levels are way low than what they used to be.
Here's a good example. I know this guy, and his dad is very macho, manly. So like someone passed recently, and I was like, "How's your dad taking it?" And he's like, "My dad, like it doesn't bug him." To me, that's weak as fuck, hella weak. That's not manly at all.
Maybe it does bug him, but he just knows how to control it and keep it to himself, because why is he going to express it and give that burden to other people? No, wait.
Because he's being too weak to have an open conversation.
Bullshit.
Yes. It was his son.
There's no way.
You can have a conversation with your son. If you can't, you're weak.
Okay, but maybe he doesn't want to. Nope. You can't say nope and not even let me speak.
Because I've already there's no if you can't have a conversation with someone because you're too scared about your feelings, that's a bitch.
No, maybe it's not that he's too scared about his feelings. Maybe he doesn't want to put that burden on somebody else. He'd rather be taking all their burdens and take care of his feelings and their feelings and not distribute it to somebody else. He's the man of the family.
That's not taking care of anybody's feelings. That's being selfish. Like your son's trying to talk to you. Talk.
He doesn't have to open up. Doesn't make somebody weak.
To my son, I think it makes him weak. Hella weak. Not a little bit weak, like your guys' girly weak. That's a girl thing, not a guy thing.
You know, when my dad and my mom passed, and she can vouch for this a little bit. When my mom passed, I don't show very much emotion. I'm an emotional person. I've been told, high strung, emotional. But when my parents passed, but what you're saying, I did not show emotion in front of people.
That I'm not saying don't cry to the world.
But when I was like in my own space, I broke down. I allowed myself to do that. But as far as when I talk to people, it's really weird. Something just flips.
I'm not saying you have to make a Facebook post. I'm not saying you have to be depressed. I'm not saying you have to whine every day. But when your son's trying to talk to you and you still have to put on, I'm a man, that's weak. Your son's trying to talk to you. Be a better father.
What I do with my kids, because they did not grow up on a dairy like I did. When I was growing up, we had to work. We're young. I mean, it's kind of slave labor in a way.
On the dairy?
On the dairy.
I used to work on a dairy.
So we were young, and we had to do chores, and we had to get up early, and we hated it. It was one of the best things life lessons that my parents could have taught me, as it turns out, because they taught me how to work, that way, and be disciplined, follow through, that kind of stuff. I think there's some life lessons there. But my kids didn't grow up on a dairy. I mean, they used to go out. They were very young, but they didn't really grow up on a dairy like I did. And I always thought about that in my head when I was raising them. So the second best thing for me was hoping and pushing them into athletics, because athletics is very, very similar to life. Because in athletics, you have to be disciplined to do the the
Were you doing that because they missed out on the dairy? You wanted them to have something manly?
Yep, that's exactly what I did. I replaced it with sports, because sports is very similar to life, because life is filled with adversity, as well as what's the opposite of adversity? Success. And it really teaches you about that. When things aren't going good, what are you going to do? You got to fold. It's life lessons. I mean, I guess you could say the same thing for a female, especially nowadays, because females seem to be, some of them like to play the men's sports.
I may be the problem that you're talking about.
That's very true.
Yeah. Like, I grew up very young on a dairy. I did construction since I was like, it's like the first thing I could remember. I would never have my kids do that.
Yeah, and I think to this day, I've said it, I think that every kid should be raised on a dairy.
Fuck that.
Or do something that requires effort and discipline.
See, Dylan, my son, my oldest son, his mom puts him into a lot of sports, but he doesn't dig it. So I'm like, I want to put him into like dance and artsy stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's because I wish I could have did something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And my parents, when I was older, like 7th, 8th grade, I played in a band. I learned how to play a musical instrument. And my first wife, she even mentioned that, because she said, why don't you have them play an instrument or do something else? I said, well, if they want to, they can. Mm-hmm. They never wanted to. So maybe that would have been the same thing as, if your kid's not liking it, I wouldn't force them to do that.
That's how I felt a lot of my life was forced. Like, I was not happy for so much of it. You get what I mean?
I do.
So like now I'm like, so I guess even with this whole talk we're doing, even the guys that don't want to, if they're manly or not manly or fucking want to hide their feelings or whatever, if it's making you happy, I don't give a fuck what you do. Just do whatever.
Wish that's the way it should be. You know, if that's what it takes for me to get through life. Now, if it turns me into a fucking serial killer or some wacko,
That's probably why we have serial killers, because no one could ever do what they want.
you know,
And they fucking snap.
What?
Yeah.
They can, like, you think that it's because they couldn't do what they wanted to do?
I mean, it could be. I'm not saying that is the reason. Like, there it is. I'm saying when you're forced to do things that you dislike over and over and over, and then you go to schools that I don't even want to get into schools, but schools are like a complete waste of fucking time. I think I see, like, I'm like, I get it. Like, I get it. You fucking snap because the world sucks. That's why you yourself have to find hobbies and what you enjoy doing in life and chase that instead of just doing what everyone tells you. You know what I mean? You guys don't both have to get silent like I'm a fucking friend.
did you pat him down?
I'm just saying.
We did. We got like super quiet.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm just saying I get it.
I don't.
one thing that we all have in common is that we all come from a family that's divorced. It's split.
Oh yeah.
And I carried that tradition. I mean, my parents split. I split.
I split.
I didn't want to, but yeah.
I didn't want to either, but it was split.
Well, I kind of did. Mine's confusing.
I think it's a tricky balance to raise kids that can become and stay productive, and they don't have a. I mean, kids are pretty resourceful.
Have your kids? Can I ask if your kids got split? Because they're old enough now, right?
What do you mean if they got split?
Like if they split.
With
Have they been
anybody.
married?
Oh no.
No.
Yes.
They did.
Shannon's still married.
Nice.
Yeah.
So see, you weren't you just saying? I wonder if you could teach it or to make them not.
Well, I mean, we don't know. I mean, they're married as of right now.
Oh fuck! Well, it needs to fuck out of them.
I mean, you know.
I think
4 or 5
I
years.
think they'll stay together. I think they'll
4 or
stay
5
together.
years.
Yeah.
That's good for today.
I think my young one. I think what we went through as a family splitting up. I think it impacted him to where he's leery of making that commitment. I think.
I'm super weird with commitment.
I think it impacted him that way. I'm not 100% sure. You know, we've had talks and everything, but it's not like I never asked that direct question.
You don't feel weird with commitment since your family? Because obviously you did. You have commitment issues. You did.
I probably still do.
No, you've been married over 10 years, 15?
18.
18?
I was told.
Jesus fucking.
19. No, you're 19. Go. What?
It doesn't matter. Too long now.
2002 was the second one.
Huh?
2002.
Oh. That's a
Yeah,
20.
so you're 18 right now, about to go on 19, and so 18 was the first one because you're about to
That's
pass
right.
that one.
Are you gonna do anything for your 20th?
Yeah, we're gonna get a divorce.
Just because you beat the 18, you're flying out.
I told Tina the second one.
Uh-huh.
I said, if you can make it with me 6 more months, you broke the record of the first one. She's very competitive.
She is.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're. I don't
She even made the joke. She was like, after that, we're done.
know. Done.
Yeah.
Congrats. That's a very long time. You should be proud. That's hard.
Relationships are hard.
Relationships are very hard. You're raised one way. You meet someone that's raised completely different, and there's an attraction, so it's all cool. But then as you get closer and you move to end together, those different ways of how you were raised and how your outlooks,
it's tricky.
It's very hard.
And then not to mention, like when you then have kids and then you get married to somebody else and you're each bringing kids into the relationship, that's even a bigger juggle.
What? Move your size 9 foot out of there.
You know why it's size 9? Look at her Adam's apple.
Oh,
You think your parents were fucked up.
I'm sorry.
Her real name is Carl. You know that. We talked about that.
I hope not.
That's why her feet are so damn big.
Oh my gosh. Size 9.
I was just giving you a hard
I
time.
was listening to you. I kept hitting it.
But
and it was
anyway,
magical.
it's even trickier when you bring two families together. When I got divorced the first time, And then I had a girlfriend with 2 kids.
Mhm.
Man, that was like oil and water trying to mesh them with my kids at that time.
As in the kids or just
The kids.
everything?
Did they fight?
They didn't really fight, but they didn't want to be a part of it. They didn't really.
Oh, they didn't
like the
accept
whole
it.
situation. No.
Ooh.
And they were mad at me because I was the one that left.
Oh, how old were they?
12, 13.
Oh, and they're at that bad age.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, I can only imagine.
And you know something? I knew that they might be, and I never talked about say, hey, you should like them and give them a chance. Never.
I don't think you should.
I never did.
Yeah, I think you should let it. It will tell you how it should go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even like because I had my own condo, and I didn't live very far from them, probably 2-3 miles. Because I wanted to be around school, and my gym was pretty close there. I said, if you ever want to stay with me, you just let me know. I never forced that because I just thought, I'm gonna let them, give them some say about that.
My dad did that. He didn't leave. My mom asked for the divorce, but he treated me like that. There wasn't pressure. There wasn't like, you have to see me this day and this day and this day. It was like, you just come and see me whenever you want. And I, of course, went and saw him more than I probably should have. But it was my choice.
I had to have a schedule or my kids would never leave.
You
Mm-hmm.
would never leave you?
Yeah.
Did they hate it like when they went to their moms?
Dylan was kind of bad a little bit. Like sometimes he'd get really upset that he had to leave me.
Yeah.
My youngest cries every time. I think I could probably count on my hand how many times he hasn't cried.
Even to this day?
Mm-hmm.
Really? How old is he?
5.
Oh, yeah.
Like the last time I dropped him off, he didn't cry. But the time before that, he was having a meltdown.
When I used to go to my dad's, because my dad had the dairy, my mom lived in town. So I was going back and forth. And that dairy was just something that gave me stability because I had things to do. When I was with my mom, she had to work. She's a single mom working. And I was at the age, because I was in 3rd grade. Do you know the name of your school in 3rd grade?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Wilson.
Crestwood.
Sierra Vista. It's part of Redwood now. It's right across the street from Redwood.
Mm-hmm.
That was kindergarten through 8th, I believe. I went there. Anyway, but when I go to my dad's and spend the week when I come home, I'd always be off because I wanted to be with him. Not because I necessarily liked him more than my mom. It's just I had direction. I had things to do, kept me busy. When I was with my mom, it's like, kids started getting into mischief. And I was smoking, trying shit out like that. Because she wasn't a good mom. She was working. It's a tough deal. But she did not like that when I came back from my dad's. She'd be pissed at me. And that caused problems. And yet I can understand maybe how she could feel about that. It's like, why do you like your dad better than me type thing?
Mm-hmm.
But that was just the way I felt. I was just being a kid. I wanted to be with my dad. Eventually, when I was, I think probably maybe a freshman or maybe 8th grade. Let's see, what was I? I think 7th grade. I went to live with her did this thing back and forth for probably 2 or 3 years. And then she finally let me go. And the thing about us as parents, we do the best we can. Because obviously there's no book on it. There's a lot of ways that people parent. I don't think that's necessarily a right way unless the kid turns out really screwed up. And even some parents that do everything right with their kids they turn out not that way. I was very lucky. My kids were.
Yeah, because a lot of those serial killers we were talking about earlier usually grow up like super religious and great families.
Yeah.
And then there's serial killer.
Yeah. And my kids, honestly, we all have issues, but they turned out to be good kids, productive, amazingly, because I was very worried about that because of how my parents handled their divorce. It wasn't good.
So you're kind of aware of it.
Yeah. I didn't want, I was really, as part of me was sad that happened for my kids. It bothered me. I didn't show a lot of emotion because that's something traumatic and that's where I go, withdraw a little bit, But But my mom and dad did the best they could. I had baggage till I was 41 from that. But I don't think I ever used it as an excuse to to misbehave or anything like that. It was just what it was. And when I think I really got better is when I just relented and just said they did the best they could during those times. And right before my mom died, it's really weird. I don't know if she had like a sixth sense about it. I would say about a month before she died, she came up to me one day and it was just so authentic. And she said, if I ever did anything that caused you harm and really hurt you that I wasn't aware of, I'm sorry. And that day just turned everything because she never really did that. And that was the first time I think for me that I really felt that was really, really authentic. And I almost wonder if it was just, my grandpa, he had this intuition that he was going to die. There was something he felt. He told my mom and he told my grandma. And sure enough, he died shortly thereafter. He had this kind of weird, some kind of feeling, and he died in the kitchen. And I'm just wondering, because I never saw my mom like that, just so real.
And how old were you when she did that? 41?
No, this is like just before she died, about 2 months before she died.
Oh my gosh.
She's been gone now, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
Weird.
We're on a deep level today. Everybody's on a deep level.
Is it too much of a downer?
I don't think so.
No, it's being real. That's real stuff.
So I think that what we have to do with our kids is raise them tough, rough and tough, because that's how life
What are you guys
is.
both looking at me for?
Are you raising your kids rough and tough?
I'm raising my kids to be happy.
I'm raising mine to be happy and rough and tough. But I think I also do that because my kid doesn't have a male figure. So he doesn't even have an example to see the rough and tough. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like I actually have to overdo it.
You might disagree with me, but I think that if the kid has if they have to have one parent to parent them, I think the dad's the best way to go over the mom.
I mean, I actually don't disagree with that for a man, for a boy, if the dad is qualified.
I think you need both, or you're gonna be fucked up really bad.
I just said if you had to pick one.
Yeah, if you had to pick one.
Only could have one. I think the dad, male figure.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably agree with that, but
maybe it's changed now because the men now are not really the same kind of males that
if
the males were years ago.
If the male figure is not a good example, then you definitely don't want that kid with them.
Well, true.
So it'd have to be like a qualified man to do that job.
I don't know. I think it's most humans suck, so I think it's just really basis.
Tell us how you really feel.
Just I think it depends on each situation because I know a lot of shitty moms, but I probably know just as many shitty.
Yeah, oh
dads,
yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know if I told you or if we talked about this on the podcast or my kids, because now my kids, now that they're my age, I mean, now that they're 40, 39, 38, it's like that, they see life differently because they're going through now they're having kids and they can see how we as parents were at certain points, like with tough love and things like that. They can understand that now that they have kids more. But my first wife always thought I was too hard on my kids because, in fact, her son's baseball hitting coach had mentioned something to her about, I used to take my kids out to batting practice because they love sports. And I thought, if you're going to be in sports and you love it, then let's be the best that you can, So we'd go out. I had a key to the hitting cage at Golden West. And I'd take those kids out every morning. That was just, we did at 6 o'clock in the morning before school. And so that was just one example. And so my first ex, she said to my kids, she goes, your father was just, they were just talking or something. Your father was just too hard on you, she thought. And this is what made it really great for me and confirmed what I did. is they told her, they said, "You're wrong, Mom. Dad made us tough, and he taught us how to deal with stuff." That was, for me, just like one of the best things I ever could have said.
Making you feel like you did it right. You raised them right. That was like
It
your,
just gave me confirmation,
yeah.
you know, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that the stated goal for me was I want my kids to be productive adults. And that was my way of that was my interpretation. And then, like you said, you don't have any book out there to teach you how to do that. You just got to kind of wing it, which is kind of scary, you know?
I don't know. I raised Dylan and Shiloh exactly the same. And Dylan would outsmart anybody in the room, but Shiloh would fuck up anybody in the room. Like he's wild and strong, and he'll fuck up somebody like at least twice his age.
Now, are both your kids from the same mom?
No.
Okay. Because I find it interesting that you're saying that, because my kids are not, they're different.
Yeah, they're night and day different.
You know, it's like from the same mom and same dad.
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And they're different that way. But you're saying the same thing with different moms.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say that your youngest one's mom, is she more of like that too, the way he is?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
And then is Dylan's mom the other way?
No, not really.
Like
Not
outsmart? Can she outsmart people?
I think he just has my mouth and then her head. So then he's just like smart as fuck. Do you get what I mean? Because I have a very smart ass mouth, but his mom's very smart. So he just uses it both to his advantage. And then Shiloh, like if we go to the hospital, like 20 doctors are running into the room to hold him down. They have to like tie him down to the things.
Really?
He's like picking up doctors over his head and shit. It's almost that bad.
Charlie.
It's almost that bad. It's not, but I mean,
he's a 12-year-old.
No, my 5-year-old. The 5-year-old. They had to bring doctors.
Are the doctors
like
big?
paging, like code red, code
Really?
whatever. Yeah, I swear.
Wow.
Yeah, like it's no joke.
Is that what they call?
Like Dylan is 10, and when they fight, I have to run in there to like save Dylan. Like I'm not joking. Shiloh is like when he hits me, I'm like I act like I'm fine, but it hurts.
So would you say that the moms are night and day?
Yeah.
That's probably why.
One of our poodles is named Shiloh.
Oh yeah, where did you get the name from?
Tina. Yep. She comes with all the names of the dogs.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Shiloh.
Uh-huh. What was the other one's name?
Simba.
There you go. You had to think for a minute.
Shiloh, Simba,
Tommy.
Shuva in Portuguese means rain. I named her. This is before Tina. I found the dog. Shuva. Tommy.
Tommy. That's random out of all those names.
And the funny thing is he's the tiniest black poodle.
Yeah.
So he's this big.
He was left at some history on Tommy. He was left. His owners, the wife or whatever, took him to the groomers, and never went back to pick him up.
How many dogs do you find that way?
All of our dogs are found.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
They're all found.
Oh, okay.
All rescue dogs. But they left the dog there because the husband and wife were going through a divorce. Took him to the groomer, left him, never went back.
And get this, Tommy is the king of all those dogs.
That little fucker, he's about that big, and he has no clue. He's gotten his ass kicked because of his attitude.
Dogs
He's
don't
got
know
an
how big
attitude.
they are.
Yeah,
No, they
he's
don't.
got an attitude.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And he got his ass whooped by Sadie.
Oh, yeah. Wait, was that when I had to come and take care of him and Tina?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that was bad.
But, which is kind of funny because it's interesting how dogs kind of set like who's boss. There's definitely a chain of command.
He's also Tina's like right and left hand dog. So he goes everywhere with her. Everybody else goes in kennels, but Tommy gets to go on the airplane. He gets to go out of state with her, and he gets to go. He's
privileged.
Yeah, he's like her purse.
Entitled.
So I think he just knows that. Like I'm the main one, and all of you are just kennel dogs.
But how he got his ass kicked is that the big dogs will just come up. Tommy's he likes to be by either myself or Tina, and if one of the big dogs will come up just to be petted, he'll lash out like he's a big dog, and he lashes out. Yeah, he got fucked up there, guys. But the funny thing is it didn't change his
It
behavior.
didn't.
He'll still do that shit.
And he had like a gash in his chest, man.
Oh, fuck.
Freaking split open. Oh man. No, he didn't care. He was like, "Oh, fix me up. Here we go back
It's
again."
crazy how wild dogs could be, huh?
Yeah.
Because we use them as pets, but they could be vicious.
They have
animals.
the I remember moment. I know, like with Sadie, she's as sweet as she can be. You should see her fight. A fucking nightmare. She just it's something just I remember. She goes nuts.
That's why they have a commercial with the dog food, where it's like they're really like wolves.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you know which one I'm talking about? Isn't it like called the Wild or something?
Yeah, it's like a blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Do you have a dog?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I just can't have it at my place. Mine's name is Lotta for enchilada.
Lotta.
She's a Jack Russell Terrier, so she could like do like tricks and shit, you know.
So they're
and
smart.
Climb up ladders and shit.
Where do they live? Where does she live? Lotta.
My mom's house.
Do you get the visitor? So she's like in a
She's all fat
relationship
now.
that's divorced, and you
Yeah.
have visitation rights.
She's really old now though. She's about ready for the upper room.